What's up, guys? Mason the Brock Henderson here, and I hate to say it, I wasn't at the game today. I wanted to be there, but I couldn't, because I also coach, and some stinking private school had to move their game or our game to Saturday, on this Saturday, of course, because it could be any other Saturday. But anyway, so I didn't get to see the first half at all because they weren't showing it on TV for some reason. But I did get to watch the second half on Facebook Live. So yeah, it was quite the experience. Holding my phone, having to look at blurry images because for some reason it wasn't loading properly, and it was all. Yeah, it was not a great way to review it, and honestly, I don't know if I can properly review it just because I didn't see the first half, so I don't really know how they looked before the red card. But I can talk about some of the things that I saw in the second half and just overall the performance that I witnessed in the second half. Obviously, some of this could be tainted by the fact that Chicago were down a man for quite a while. But based on the replays that I saw, the first goal looked like just simple. Looked like he's trying to cross possibly, and then bounced off the defender through the keeper's legs. Goal, so own goal early on, and then on top of that, 5 minutes later, straight red for a guy who Martinez was in behind and possibly one-on-one with the keeper. A guy pulled him down outside the box. As an Atlanta United fan, of course, I'm going to say obvious red. Of course, great call, referee, but you know, I don't. It's hard for referees, I think, to judge based on the guy's making a run in behind, the ball's played, and before he even gets a touch on it, before he even gets close to it, he gets pulled down. At that point, it's really hard to judge that, and so the referee decided it was a red. Some referees may have given him just a yellow. It's hard to say on the moment, but he got the red, so now we're up a man. And like I said, didn't get to watch the rest of the first half, so I don't know what happened after that. I don't know if we were constantly pressuring them or what. But second half, I got to watch all of that, and from the beginning, I mean, we're constantly at them. We're constantly putting pressure. We've got the ball. We're possessing it. We're moving it very well. And honestly, that's one of the best things that I've seen so far about Atlanta is they move the ball so smoothly. It's just like it's watching some great passing. And Tata Martino as your manager, of course you're going to get some great passing. But just getting to watch it in an MLS game, where most of the time you expect just to be like fast paced, running, 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 bullying people off the ball, just a lot of strong physical play, to see some sweet movement of the ball, some quick 1-2s, some brilliant through balls in behind. It's quite incredible. Both, I think the second and the fourth goal. I think Villalba's was the third one. Both of Martinez's goals were just amazing through balls. The first one, he's there. He's got a touch past the keeper and it's easy pass. The second one, once again, sweet through ball. He touches it past the keeper, has to finish from a difficult angle. Amazing. And then Villalba's was decent cross into a dangerous area, bounces off, and Villalba's there, takes a touch, has a shot with his left, puts it past the keeper. So all in all, just all of the goals were very well worked. Were very just sweet movement in. It's amazing to watch. So let's talk about some of the individuals. Can and goal again just still looks solid. There are several moments where it looks like they possibly have a chance to get back into it, Chicago, and then he makes a good save, or he's coming out and collecting it before the striker can get on it. He looks like a solid goalkeeper, and I hope he continues that. I hope we continue to see more of him, just solid, good play from the back, because I want Guzan to come in and not just be like, oh, I've got this, no problem. You guys have no other keepers besides me. So the fact that he's going to come in and hopefully have to fight for his spot, I'd love to see that because I love it whenever keepers have to fight for their spot. There's some keepers that feel like, oh, I've got no competition at all, and so they make mistakes, but they don't feel the need to sort of correct that. They don't feel the need to work harder. So whenever you have another backup keeper who's just as good and just as ready as your starting keeper, it kind of puts pressure on him to continue to play well, or else this next guy's coming in. So, and keepers are pretty much the only position where you can do that. Most of the other positions on the field, you have different types of players to put out there. So it's not like, except for maybe striker, those guys are normally competing. But even then, if you have a quick, pacey striker like Martinez and a strong striker that's big like Jones, oftentimes it just depends on the type of game, depending on what striker you want out there. So Cam's doing pretty well. I like seeing him play. Defense, didn't really get to see them defend a whole lot, obviously. But Parkhurst and Perez again in the back. They're both very calm on the ball, and I think that's one of the best things about them is just watching them on the ball and watching them just be like, I got it. I'm going to play it out wide. It's going to be simple. We're just going to keep it moving. We're not going to do anything stupid. Gary Cahill. Sorry, Chelsea reference. But it's just so simple from them. They take a touch, they find a pass. They take a touch, they find a pass. It's always moving. It's always moving the ball, swinging it out wide, forcing Chicago to have to move and run and chase. It's so easy, but it's so effective, and they do it so well. And probably Tata has a little bit to do with that, but just watching them actually do it is very nice. Garza and Mears on the wing, fullbacks again, both very solid. I've talked about it before. Mears is just he looks like an English fullback. Very strong up and down the line. Nothing fancy, but he's strong. He's fast. He sends in a good cross. Garza on the other side, much more technical, much quicker. His crosses are a lot more whip and bend on it, and so he's sent in a couple. I think his cross is the one that led to Villalba's goal for the third one. So just seeing him sort of send that ball in, it's always looking dangerous, and it's always causing the defenders to go, okay, we got to adjust to this now. Up into the midfield, Carmona gets his spot back after coming back from suspension with Gressel alongside him. Kind of, like I said in the first game, Gressel sort of plays both sides. He'll go up in the attack, but he'll get back and help defend as well. But honestly, having Carmona in there is just so nice to have somebody in there he's ready to step in and win it early. And he's also got a good pass on it. He's not playing slow. He's quick. He's in there quickly. He's in your face. And that's the big difference between him and Laurentowicz. When he comes on, I talked about him in the last game, and same thing here. He comes on late when we're already 4-0 up because he's more of a shut-it-down player. He's kind of slower than Carmona. He's not as quick with his touch. And so he's that type of player that you want in if it's a 1-0 game and it's very close. You put him in, you sit back. But honestly, that's not the type of team that Atlanta is. We're much more attacking focused. We're much more get at them, get at them, get at them. So Laurentowicz really doesn't fit into that type of playing style. Now, maybe there will be a game where Tata says, okay, we're going to sit back this game. In that game, Laurentowicz would probably do well. But whenever we're just always on the attack, he just doesn't fit into that type of team. And I felt kind of bad after the last review. I talked really bad about him. He's not a terrible player by any means. He's just not as quick and not as attack focused as the rest of the team, and that really shows whenever you've got a team as strong as Atlanta. So, but Carmona came in, did well, and just pretty much bossed the midfield for most of the second half. Any chance that Chicago had to break and possibly counter with one the striker, Carmona's just in there, step in, win it, and now we're back on the attack. Gressel worked the ball pretty well. He's big and strong, but not as quick. So I'm not expecting him to step in and win every one, but whenever he's on the ball, he holds it up very well and he moves the ball around very nicely. Almiron, once again, just our creative player in the midfield, always seems to be on the ball. Even when he's out right, when he's out left, he'll just go from side to side. He almost has free reign to roam anywhere, and he's one of those players that thrives off of that, and he does it very effectively. So I love to watch him play. I hope he continues to be just this effective, because it's so worrying for the other team to have to deal with a player like that who can just roam wherever he wants to. And no, do not start singing that song, because I will come through this computer and punch you in the face. I'm just kidding. I'm not a violent person most of the time. Assad and Villalba again out wide, both did pretty well. Villalba didn't really see as much from him aside from the goal, but then again he didn't get as much playing time as Assad did. But just, between the two of them, Assad is much more of a roaming inside type of wing. He's the one that, of course, part of that is because he's got guards outside of him. So Mears doesn't normally make that overlapping run as much. So Villalba is normally the one that stays out wide. He's normally the width over there. Garza likes to get up in the attack a lot more. And so he normally provides the width, which gives Assad a chance to run inside and make some runs in there with the ball, without the ball. And so it kind of gives him a little bit more freedom. So I will give Villalba that he doesn't really have, Mears is not a bad fullback, but he's not the overlapping run. He's not the one that's going to get in the attack like Garza is. So I think Assad does have that advantage over Villalba, but Villalba got the goal today, so you know, good on you. It was a good strike. It was a nice touch to get it out from the defender and just placed it right to the left of the keeper. And then, of course, the man of the hour, Joseph Martinez. 5 goals in 3 games. Early push from MVP is a lot of what I'm hearing. I obviously, as the season goes on, maybe teams will start to figure him out. Maybe it's just one of those, whenever you have somebody that's just coming into the league, it's hard to figure him out. It's hard to figure out his game. So maybe teams are kind of struggling to adapt to him right now. But as far as I can tell, I mean, his work ethic is just, he earns his goals. His runs that he makes, he's always putting himself in a dangerous position. He's always causing the defense to have to mark him. The defense is always having to watch him because if they leave him for a second, he's gone. So I love watching him just move because you don't really get many strikers like that nowadays. Most of the strikers that you put up there on their own are the big tall ones that just wait for the ball to be played in. Your Peter Crouches, your Zlatans, your Olivier Giroux. All of those guys, they're good strikers, but they're more of the I'm going to stand here and I'm going to wait for you to send the ball to me, and then I'm going to take a touch and I'm going to hold it up with my strong touch and easy, lay it off, that type of thing. Martinez is like the exact opposite of that. He's not big. He is strong, but he's shorter, which means a lot of the balls that are played into him are on the ground, but he's just so quick. He's quick on the turn. He'll make the run in behind. He's very attack-minded. He's very much, I'm going to get in behind the defense, find the space in behind, and just take it and go. His first touch, too, like both of his goals, has to take it past the keeper on his first touch. Did it on both occasions, just so easily. It's like the keeper wasn't even there almost. So really just enjoy watching him play. I mean, very solid, very effective forward. I hope he can continue to contribute and hope he can continue to score as well because we need that. Our midfielders are scoring pretty well as well, but as far as strikers are concerned, you want your striker to be your main scoring threat. You want him to be the one that's putting in the goals game after game. Whenever everybody else is struggling to score, he's the one that steps up and says, "It's okay, guys, I got this," and finishes. So, yeah, all around starting lineup, very strong, very good throughout the second half. A lot of that probably has to do with the fact that they're a man up, but just watching them work, even with the man advantage, all the work they put in still would have caused Chicago trouble, even if they had 11 men on the field. Just all the movement off the ball, the quick passing, the movement. It's so hard to track and so hard to defend against as well. So really enjoyed that. The subs that came on, Jacob Peterson was the first one to come on for Villalba, I believe. Just a very, giving him some time on the field, which is fine. He got himself a goal against Minnesota. I'd like to see more of him just because he seems like he could be a decent backup. Not very fancy, compared to Assad and Villalba, but hardworking, good up and down the line wing player. McCann comes in for Gressel, and that's just kind of I think both of them are probably going to get some decent time this season. So I like the fact that McCann's getting some more time. I want to see more out of him, see what he's going to do. And then the last one, like I said, Laurentowicz comes on late to sort of shore up, I guess, the defensive side of it, make sure we keep the clean sheet. But all 3 of them come on, and, we're pretty effective. I think of the 3, though, Peterson was definitely the one I was seeing a lot more. Part of that may have been because it was so blurry I couldn't tell who McCann was. But I just noticed him making the runs inside and then cutting back out. He looks like a very effective wing player just as far as his runs are very dangerous for the fullbacks, for the wings, whoever's having to guard him. He cuts inside, lays it off, and then turns, spins, goes outside. That's hard to defend against. That's hard to have to track that runner and be like, okay, I can't let the ball in behind, but I also can't let you in behind. So which way am I going to go? Am I going to stop the pass? Am I going to try to cut you off? Either way, it's going to be hard to stop him. So I like what I see from him so far, and I hope he can continue that. And possibly just if we're looking for a goal, if we're looking for something to sort of switch things up, he may be an option that you just throw out there and be like, just go, just do what you can. So long story short, even though I only got to see the second half, I assume the first half was pretty much like this. Just we were able to finish later on because their defense were starting to wear out. Just a little bit of lack of, I guess, movement back there. The fact that you are having everybody back means you're very defensive. You've packed it in, but with the ball movement that we have, with just the quick movement in behind, the nice passes, the sweep movement, it's all around. We're breaking down teams. That's something that you don't. I don't know. Of course, I'm not really an MLS person until this year, so I can't really tell you what the league is like. But from the few games that I watched before this year, it was very direct, very long ball oriented, very we're gonna just kick it and go. We gotta run. We gotta run. We gotta run. It was just all about the physical side of it. It wasn't very ball movement based. Like just watching them pass the ball around is not something you expect in the MLS. So whenever you talk about breaking down a team, whenever you talk about a team that's just packed it in, and talking about moving the ball around to break down their defense, that's not something you normally hear in the MLS as far as I've seen so far. And so the fact that they packed everybody in, except for one striker, so you've got 8 guys back, plus your keeper, that's 9, and we're still breaking them down with just like 5 people up there. Just quick passes from Almiron to Martinez, from Assad to Martinez, across from Garza, and then Villalba's there to pick it up. Just that simple passing, and we're breaking down teams. We're breaking down a team that's just packed it in back there. That's encouraging. And especially because Chicago is, obviously Red Bulls are a very, very set team in MLS. They've been there for a while. But Minnesota, after we beat them, a lot of people were like, oh, well, but it's Minnesota. They're a new team. They have a bunch of NASL players still on their team. So coming into this game, it's another game against a team that's established in the MLS. They've been in for a while. And we took it to them. We showed them how to play. We moved the ball well. We broke them down. We scored 4 on Chicago Fire. I mean, that's impressive. So I hope they can continue this momentum, especially because we got 4 away games in a row. But as far as I'm concerned, I'm happy with the result, with the performance, all of it. It was just all around a really enjoyable game. So I wish I could have been there. I hate having coaching duties, but that's just how it works. So let me know what you guys think down in the comment section below. Who's your man of the match? Let me know. We can talk about and discuss all that good stuff. Leave a like and subscribe for future Atlanta United reviews, and I'll see you at the next game. Peace out.